Hello, my dear students. I am Sorin Mohanty, HOD of Automobile Department in Mayurbhanj School of Engineering, Lakhimpur Baripada. I hope you all are doing well during this epidemic situation, and all of you are making the most of your time during your stay at home. Today we will be discussing a topic from hydraulics, machines and pneumatic systems. The name of the topic is pressure and its measurement. All of us have a little bit of idea about pressure, right? Everyone knows what is pressure, and everyone also knows that pressure is somehow related to force. So first let us see that how this pressure is related to force. When we talk about force, force is generally exerted on a body or on a surface. Now pressure, whenever we apply force on an object or on a body, it experiences a pressure. So if we will see, suppose a balloon is there and we are putting some force on that balloon, as you can see behind me, the balloon will get compressed, and it will be because the pressure that is being applied by your hand on the balloon. Now that pressure, the amount of force, when it will increase, the pressure will also increase. The more force you apply on the balloon will get compressed more and more. So we can deduce from this that the force is directly proportional to pressure. When force increases, pressure also increases. But force is not the only criteria that defines how pressure will act when we apply a force. Everybody generally, they have used mattresses, godi, ସମସ୍ତେ godi use କରିଛନ୍ତି. Now suppose you are sleeping on a bed, the amount of compression on the mattress will be low rather than when you are standing. ଯେତେବେଳେ आपण माने बेड उपरे ठिया हेइथिबे, आपण माने नोटिस करिवे जे बेड रो कंप्रेशन टा बेसी अछि एज कंपेयर्ड टू जेतेबेले आपण माने सोइथिले. व्हाई इज दैट? योर बॉडी वेट इज सेम, the amount of force that is being applied on the mattress is also same. Then how come when you are standing the compression is more, but when you are sleeping the compression is less? That is because apart from force, pressure also depends on the area on which the force is being applied. Now when you are standing, the area of compression, as you can see in the diagram behind me, the area of application of that force is getting reduced. As a result, the pressure is increasing. So from this example, we can also deduce that pressure increases when we decrease the area. Hence, we can say that pressure is directly proportional to force and inversely proportional to area. So as a whole, we can say the definition of pressure is the normal force applied per unit area is called pressure. Next, we will need to discuss about the units, various type of units that are used generally for quantifying the pressure. SI unit of pressure is Newton per meter square. There are other units also that we generally use, like Newton per cm square, Newton per mm square, millimeter that is. Newton per meter square has another name, that is Pascal. We also call it as Pascal. Other than that, we also have some units like bar, and if we want to increase the quantity, then megapascal, kilopascal, we can use all those things. But you must remember that the SI unit of pressure is Pascal, which is Newton per meter square. Next, we will study about Pascal law. Pascal law is for static fluid. In case of a static fluid, the pressure or intensity of pressure at a point will remain constant in all directions. So this is your Pascal law, and it states that, I am repeating myself, it states that the pressure or intensity of pressure at a point in a static fluid will remain constant in all directions. Mathematically we can write Px is equal to Py is equal to Pz. So basically what happens, now when a pressure is being applied on a static fluid, generally we have three dimensions. One is x dimension, as you all know, another is y, and another is z. So in a three-dimensional system, the pressure in every dimension and in every direction will remain constant. Suppose P is the pressure in x direction and Py is the pressure in y direction, likewise Pz is the pressure in z direction. Then according to Pascal law, Px will be equal to Py will be equal to Pz. Now if we would like to verify this statement, if it is true or not, then we will have to derive an expression for Pascal's law. For that, here we have assumed that there is a wedge shaped element, fluid element. Suppose there is a container, and in container there is some fluid, and in that fluid we have to consider an element. The shape that we have chosen for the element is wedge shape. Let the base of the element is of dx length, the height of the element is of dy length, the hypotenuse is, let's say, ds, and it is of unit thickness. The thickness will be unity 1. So first of all we need to understand that how many forces are acting upon this wedge shaped fluid element. As you can see that all the three surfaces are surrounded by their neighboring fluid elements or fluid particles. So basically on every surface there will be pressure. Now for every face where the pressure is being applied on the wedge shaped fluid element, there will be a force. As we already derived that P is equal to F by A, likewise we can also say that F is equal to P into A. Force is equal to pressure into area. Now suppose we will take the face AB. Of course, if we will take the face AB, there will be the force of P into the area of that rectangle that you can see on the. So on every face of the fluid element there will be a force acting there. Now how many forces are there? You see on the face AB there will be a force in the upward direction. In the face AC there will be a force in the rightward direction, and in the face CB there will be a force in the Z direction. So all these forces, they need to cancel out each other. Why? So that the fluid element can be in equilibrium. So let us see what kind of forces are being applied on this fluid element. Let's say in face AB, the force will be Py into dx into 1. Py is the pressure force in y direction, dx is the length of AB, and 1 is the thickness of that part. Since it is a wedge shaped material and we have taken it as unit thickness, so the thickness is 1. So pressure into area, that is dx into 1, it will become Py into dx into 1. That will act in the upward direction. Likewise in face AC there will be Py into dx into 1. So Px into dy into 1. Px into dy into 1. And that will act in the rightward direction or in the positive x direction. Likewise in the face CB there will be a force Pz into ds into 1 in the z direction. Now this force that is in the z direction, so basically we will have to resolve it in the horizontal component as well as in vertical component. It is not a horizontal or vertical force, it is an inclined force. So basically these three forces are acting on the fluid element layer. Apart from these three forces, there is another force that is acting on this fluid element layer, and that is the weight of the fluid element. As we all know that weight always acts downward. But since this fluid element layer is very small, so we can easily neglect the weight of this fluid element layer, and we can do our calculations based on all the forces that we discussed earlier. Now, if we resolve the force on face CB, we will see that we will get two components. One is in horizontal direction, another one is in vertical direction. As you all can see that angle ACB is theta. Likewise, the horizontal component will make an angle theta with the inclined force. So we can take that as PZ ds cos theta. PZ ds cos theta. And the perpendicular part in the y direction or the vertical component will be Pz ds sin theta. Now for the fluid element layer to be in equilibrium, all the horizontal forces must cancel each other out. As we all know that for a body to be in equilibrium, the summation of all horizontal and vertical forces should be 0. So basically all the horizontal forces should be same and in opposite direction, and the vertical forces should be same and in opposite direction, so that they may cancel each other out. So suppose we do the summation of horizontal forces. So what horizontal forces do we have here? One is Px dy into 1, that must be equal to Pz ds cos theta. Now in the diagram, as we can see, cos theta we all know is equal to base by hypotenuse. So here base is what? Dy, and hypotenuse is dz or ds as it is written in the diagram, ds. So basically we can equate these two like it is shown in the screen, and we will see that ds and ds will get cancelled out, and dy and dy will also get cancelled out, and px will be equal to pz. So this we can denote as our equation 1. Again we can equate the vertical forces. For equilibrium, summation of all vertical forces should be 0. So here also we can equate the vertical forces, and these are py dx into 1, that must be equal to pz ds sin theta. Now as we all know, sin theta is equal to perpendicular into hypotenuse. So we'll have to input dx by ds, and ds and dx will cancel out, and we will get that py is equal to pz. This will be our equation 2. Now when we see equation 1 and 2, we see that px is equal to pz and py is also equal to pz. So simply from here we can deduce that px is equal to py is equal to pz, and that is the proof of your Pascal law. Now we will discuss about the real life application of Pascal's law. Generally when we walk around, we use a lot of things around us without actually understanding what is the principle behind all these things. I am sure that everybody of you must have heard about hydraulic lifts, hydraulic presses, and hydraulic jacks that are being used to raise the vehicles in the workshops. All these things are based upon the principle of Pascal's law. In press, what we are doing, as you can see behind me, we are using a small amount of force to raise a large amount of load. So what we are doing is, actually we are applying little force to do more work, and that is being done by the application of Pascal's law. If we talk about the hydraulic press, so what happens in hydraulic press? Now we lift heavy weight using less amount of force. As you can see in the right side, that there is the schematic diagram of a hydraulic press, and what exactly we are doing here is, we are applying a small amount of force on the plunger, and that force is helping us to rise a much more load, much more weighted load. So that is the application of Pascal's law in hydraulic press. Likewise, it has also applications in hydraulic lift and hydraulic jack, as we discussed earlier. Okay, my dear students, I hope what we discussed, you people were able to learn something new, and I wish you all the very best for your studies. Thank you so much. Have a good day, everyone.